Okay, I want to keep this to the point, so I'm going to get straight to what we need to talk about today. Well, first, here is the key to the 6-4 worksheet. It is in my binder as well. It is in my geometry binder as well, which means I need to see your work. If you have not done and turned in your 6-4 worksheet, you have got to do that today. I know I looked at some people's yesterday to give them bonus points, but I need everyone to turn it in today. Also, make sure you turned in your bell ringer question. Okay, here is the key to the puzzle. If you've not finished the puzzle, you have got to finish the puzzle today. Again, it's okay if you didn't work every problem as long as each group has worked every problem. The copy to the key is also in my geometry binder. We took notes yesterday on rhombuses. If you missed it, you need to watch a different video. It's posted on Google Classroom. Today we need to fill in our notes on squares. If you have out your notes, the only characteristic we see listed is that, well, it's a huge one though. It says all the characteristics of a rectangle and a rhombus. So let's think back about a rectangle. Rectangles had right angles. Rectangles had, let's see, their diagonals were congruent. And then let's see what else. Of course, they have the alternate interior angles, just like a rectangle has. And obviously, it's made up of isosceles triangles. Okay, now it also has the characteristics of a rhombus, which would be, of course, both rectangles, rhombuses, parallelograms, they're all going to have all sides parallel, so opposite sides parallel. So we could always mark that with the arrowheads. Although since all 4 shapes we're talking about have that, I don't normally feel the need to mark it. Okay, but something a rhombus has, which a square is also going to have, is all 4 sides are congruent. Opposite sides are congruent. We also learned that yesterday that a rhombus has diagonals perpendicular, so we need to label that. And the last thing we learned was that with rhombuses was that the diagonals bisect the angles. But since we know the angles are all 90-degree angles, if they're being bisected, we know specifically it's a 45-45 split. And you can write it in on every single one if you want. You know, I'm OCD, so once I start, I got to finish. Okay, and I know that the side gave you a puzzle. On the back of a puzzle was a really cool handout. It, to me, is just as useful as our yellow sheet because it kind of helps me classify the shapes we've been discussing. So you know we've been on quadrilaterals. Specifically, we've been talking about parallelograms. We talked on Tuesday about rectangles. Wednesday, we talked about rhombuses. If rhombuses and rectangles had a baby, that union where they overlap is a square. Okay, we only have 3 problems on our notes. If W or X, Y, Z is a square, WT is 3, find each measure. Well, let's see. They ask for ZX, which is the length of an entire diagonal. WT was half a diagonal, so the length of the entire diagonal would be 6 for WY, and it's also going to be 6 for WX, because we know that the diagonals are congruent. Again, a square has the same characteristics as a rectangle, and that was a characteristic of a rectangle. Okay, number 2 says angle WTZ. They want me to find the measure of this. Well, I know, because a square is a rhombus, that the diagonals are perpendicular, meaning I can put a right angle there. So this is going to be 90 degrees. Last but not least, they ask for angle WYX, which would be here. They ask for this little piece right here. And I think, because I just filled it in with the yellow sheet, you should know that's 45 degrees. Again, we know it's a right angle in each corner because it's a rectangle. We know that the diagonals are cutting the angles in half because it's a rhombus. So anytime they ask for just a little tiny piece of an angle, it's going to be 45 degrees. Okay, you need to do the worksheet on the back plus the many other assignments I've already listed. There's no way you could be bored today in class. Let me know if you have any questions. Have a good day. Bye.